turn time at this point. That's a BWC claim. Justin Ozolski is handling both code enforcement and zoning duties at the present time as a part-time employee. Mr. Ozolski and I work together to get the assessments ready, and we're going to have to go back and do a little more work on at least the lighting. There are over 100 properties that are presently on the list that are being mowed by the road staff for the second time. So these are properties that either haven't been touched or our road department is working with the code enforcement to get that done. On your zoning administrative report, Justin has issued 7 zoning certificates for a new house on McClin, agricultural fence on South Union, sheds on Rossiter, garage on Derby, front porch addition on South Union, new house on West 3rd Street, and a change of occupancy on Germantown Pike. He completed the assessment tabulation, as I mentioned before, the weed and nuisance assessment, multiple code violation zoning inspections as he moves around the township, multiple phone calls and emails with residents for complaints, questions, clarifications, or submissions of applications. For instance, today we had 7 different real estate agents call us for a classification on property that's for sale, and he handled all 7 phone calls this morning. There will be a BZA hearing on July 15th in this room to consider a conditional use application for a retail automobile sales business located at 6218, that's 6218 West 3rd Street. That's the former Five Guys restaurant, and so that'll be a public hearing. He submitted the next round of, just today, 94 additional abatement properties on top of that 100. And he continues to manage code enforcement workload in the officer's absence. On my report, I will have a full comprehensive report at the next meeting, but I want to go over some things that I have going. First of all, the fire chief had to go home. He was not feeling well, so he apologizes for not being here for the second meeting. He was here for the work session. And there's a lot of things going on with the fire department, but the biggest thing is staffing with vacations in the summer and the fair. And so there'll be a lot of work going on over the next 2 weeks in this community by the fire department as they work through their high call volume that we have. So on the sheriff's office, Captain Flagg says he would have a report at the next meeting as well. All right, so big news, and many of you know this. I think Tracy knows this well. She heard about it at one of the meetings we were at. For those that don't follow in the news or haven't been able to see it, our current president signed into law a law called the American Rescue Act. It's called ARP, ARP for short, in 2021 March. Well, here's what happened to Ohio townships. If you didn't have a population of 50,000 or more, you did not qualify. When the U.S. House of Representatives wrote the bill, Ohio townships, all townships were in the bill. When it went to the U.S. Senate, they struck the townships out of the bill because they said Ohio and only a few other states have township form of government, so they did not treat us like an equal to the cities and the villages. When they did that, townships were out. So all the president money that was going to go to all the communities like Jefferson is gone. So we went to work, sitting on the State Board of Trustees and my 24 counterparts. We lobbied both the U.S. Senate and the U.S. House, and they agreed to transfer that assignment of the money to the state of Ohio legislature. So then we began to go to Columbus and testify, which I've done twice, with the state of Ohio to try to make sure that our state reps and our state senators knew that townships were left out of this bill. Well, as of June 20, in June, They passed a bill, the Senate started out with a bill called Senate Bill or SB 111. It declared townships as eligible, non-entitlement units of local government, also known as NEU, in relation to the funds. But the Senate did not concur with the House bill, so it went back and forth, and finally the House concurred on House Bill 168, and the Senate agreed with House Bill 178, and the governor of Ohio has signed it. What does that mean for Jefferson Township? Here's the amount that's been allocated to Jefferson Township if you choose as trustees to use it. Jefferson Township's going to receive, or have been assigned, $677,425.10 to spend under the ARP plan. You'll get it in 2 disbursements if you agree that you want to take the money. $338,712.55, and then the second amount will be $338,712.55, 12 months after the initial receipt. Now, how that breaks down is you have 2 12-month disbursements if you take it, and every community is taking 100% of it. Now, you have no obligation to spend it if you choose that you can't find enough uses of the money. You just return it back. But here's what's good about this plan versus the original CARES Act that you guys got the $300,000 on a year ago. You don't have to decide what you're going to spend it on until up to the deadline of December 31st, 2024. Then you have to have it spent by December 31st, 2026. Now here's the real good thing for the communities like ours that suffer financially. You're allowed to take that money and put it in the bank. And the interest earned off that money, you're allowed to put into your general fund. And you can use it for any operation, anything that you would need to use that funding for. It does not apply to the ARP requirements. But the $677,425.10 will have to be spent within the confines and direction and guidelines of the federal government. So we have 60 days to register from the date of the House bill, meaning we have to have our registration in by the end of August. And that means we have to report the DUNS number, the SAMS number, EIN. There's various things that I can give the fiscal officer to do this. I only bring this up to you tonight because this is so important and it just happened. But you only have time to at least get registered. You don't have to decide to take the money for a while. But also the guidelines on what you can spend it on haven't quite been determined yet. But most of the cities, for instance, I'll just give you guys an idea. You may have seen it in the news. I believe, let's see, they don't have City of Dayton on this list, but I think Dayton was $13.5 million. So the city's all got a lot of money. The township's got very little. But you've got to be happy that you're going to have the potential of improving this community under those rules, whatever those are, and spend the $700,000.
What's that ARP stand for again?
It's called the American Rescue Plan. President Biden signed it into law. But it shows you, and sometimes we don't know if we'll be lucky, but when you fight and you fight and you fight for this community, something might come good. And this is an example of that. So I'll be getting the information more about what you can spend this on, and then you trustees are going to have to decide, just like we did for the CARES Act money, about what to do. Now, the CARES Act money project has to be closed out, if this is right, Fiscal Officer Edwards, December 31st of this year. We have to have all the paperwork in and money spent, or we have to return a check to the government, correct? So don't confuse that with the CARES Act versus this new ARP money. And now we have 2 years to decide what to spend it on and 2 years to spend it. Or you spend it now if you choose to. Some communities are dumping it right into their funds for income replacement.
Well, also caveat that's the max, that number you 600 something, the maximum we could get. That's the maximum we could get, but it's based on our 2020, January 27th, 2020 budget, and it's a certain percentage of that. So we won't get that whole amount. It will be based on what we tell them our 2020 budget was. So I don't want anybody to be confused, especially the community, to think we're getting 600 or some thousand, because we're not getting that.
Thanks for that.
Well, that's just what came out today.
Yes, but I'm just telling you what I got it today too.
Mhm.
It says that clearly, if you read the rest of it, it says it's based on our January 20.
Yeah, we have to submit that.
And we have to submit that, and we have to get that application, like he said, within 60 days, or we won't get any of that.
Right.
So you guys have to make a decision immediately.
So we'll have to put a timeline together, and then you guys can then know that you've got a couple meetings to make decisions on. And again, I have no idea what it can be spent on, although when you have cities that lost income tax because people didn't work in the city, they went home. And then you have no sales tax because people didn't move around and travel, no gas tax, no hotel tax. The cities took income loss, so they're just dumping most of the money right into their account. We, as a township, have a hard time showing any loss because we don't rely on any of those taxes, other than gas tax. So there might be some. So I wanted to bring that up to you as good news, that at least you got something from President Biden that you weren't going to get. So I've been in multiple lawyer meetings, as the one that you met with tonight, working on the entry system. Mike, the county still hasn't done that finished that keypad system in the back. So we're going to go get ourselves and our system ready instead of waiting. There was some disagreement with the other vendors in the building, so I guess they've had to change some of the things they were doing. But our pad is ready to go, but I don't know if it's going to go live. The demo progress. I want to give you a little update on that. This is the program last year that you took some of your money that was set aside by CDBG to tear down buildings. And we teamed it up with a new plan called Demo 2.0, which is the Montgomery County Treasurer's Office and the Land Bank together. And we tripled our money by doing that. We have, at the present time, we're in the process of, our fire chief has now submitted an affidavit showing that all the properties have been inspected and that every property on here is vacant with structures that are no longer sufficient for living there. So we are turning this list in tomorrow to the land bank to work with CDBG to start the process of inspections. They have to remove all lead paint out of the building. They have to remove all the asbestos out of every building. That includes, most of the buildings have asbestos shingles. So every one of these buildings have to have all that stuff removed prior to a tear down. So we're not sure what the timeline is in terms of tearing down. But at this point, we've submitted a list of 27 properties. And this comes out in meetings way back when Trustee Back was here. We drove around on a Saturday and looked at all these properties. We're slowly getting to where we're supposed to be. So I'll keep you updated on the Demo 2.0 program. Insurance, I met with the insurance broker twice. They're preparing a renewal and they'll be sending an invoice in soon. So Fiscal Officer Edwards, if you could be watching for that.
It's our anniversary day of July.
Right. Right. I did order a certificate of insurance to go to the city of Xenia because we had 2 ambulances down at the same time and a third one failing. The city of Xenia loaned us at no charge an ambulance, but we had to give a certificate of insurance to the city of Xenia, which I did that and constituted us using it under goodwill. Little funny story. It's not funny because of what happened, but did anybody see the highway patrolman that got hit up on 35? The news station was there, and they said that a Dayton medic and a Xenia medic took care of the trooper and the other folks. Instead, that was our people in the Xenia vehicle, but they didn't know any different. So we're gonna have that for a while. The other thing is, there was a accident that one of our medics had down at Miami Valley Hospital. We scraped against a Dayton medic, and so I have a check here for $3,119.40, which is net our deductible for us to take our medic to Maine's Collision, which is where the insurance company chose to do the work. It's made out to Maine's, but I'm gonna give this to you after the meeting, Tracy.
It's meant out to who?
Made out to Maine's Collision Center.
Or what am I gonna do with it?
Well, I'll make a copy of it for the public record, and then I can either deliver it or we can mail it to Maine's. But that was done by the insurance company. Let's see what else. We have three current BWC claims going that I'm hoping to manage with our TPA, which is our company called Sedgwick. And let's see, working with the new grant writing company that you folks hired, we have both the ambulance to purchase off of the grant and the electric rescue tools. They have reviewed your RFPs that you had done earlier in the year, and they are sufficient and compliant with FEMA. So the next step will be to bring those quotes back to you and let you accept those quotes. And that way the fire chief can order the new ambulance and the new electric tools with the AFG money. And we have to have that reporting in by December 31st that we move forward on that money, or we have to return the grant. The other thing is, we met with the medical doctor, our new medical doctor, and we've got an agreement worked out. We're waiting on a date from the doctor. He'd like to come meet you all, and he'd like to be sworn in. He's going to be on the roster as an employee. Your legal counsel and your insurance carrier said that is very highly recommended, where past medical doctors never were. And so there's always a gray area where if a medical doctor gets in the back to teach or train your people in a minute or make a run with them, there may not be any coverage for their liability, even though they're a doctor, because they're insured to be inside a hospital setting. So by making them an employee, all those check marks are all checked off, and it's a very, very efficient way. So we'll be bringing the agreement for you to review, and we'll bring the medical doctor that evening to swear him in. He wants to meet all of you.
He's gonna be on our payroll.
Yes.
Do you have a line item to pay him out of?
There's not going to be any pay at all. His agreement is just a reimbursement if there is for expenses.
So you have a line item for those that?
Yeah, the fire department already does training and whatnot. So,
I just need to tell you that because you need to include that in whatever agreement. You need to include the line item that you're gonna.
it's already in there, but thank you for bringing that up. Indigent burial, still working with the Department of Commerce. During the COVID time, that reimbursement program was almost shut down. I'm now actively working with them to get all of our reimbursements back to 36 months ago for our indigent burials. And good news, the state legislature approved for this year and next year another $1 million per year for 2 years for us to apply for any future reimbursement. Our average cost, I think, what is it, $795, I think, is our cremation cost. We would get 100% of that back. The second point of that is it's always so difficult to try to determine if somebody is indigent because they're already passed away, staying in a morgue, in a hospital, in a nursing home. They have to move to somewhere. So we're working with one of the judges here in Montgomery County, Judge Brandon, I'm sorry. And he is going to take the front load of this project and see what can be done for us as a township. One of the Achilles heel that you have here as a community is we have the county home. every person that goes into the county home that passes, the township taxpayers must pay for their burial. That's an unfair government problem, because the county home is run off of tax dollars from the US government, and now we have to pay for that expense. So I'm working with Judge Brandon to try to undo that, where we are exempt from having to pay that, and they have to send it through Social Security or one of those things. Payroll, Mr. Mann with HR had talked to me about getting some quotes from different payroll companies. I'm in the middle of doing that now. Thank you for the RFP for us to release, to get the fire engine, at least get proposals in. And basically I'm answering the phones constantly every day. That's all I have to share with you guys for tonight.
Okay, that concludes departmental reports. Comments by citizens. You have the floor for 3 minutes. As you open, please read your name and address into the record and why you're addressing the trustees. Mabel Cross.
Mabel Cross, 5145 Sun Drive. And I have a problem with my street. They come and patch it up, and then maybe 3 months later, you need to do the whole street. Grass growing all out of it and everything, look like a forest almost. I would like to address that and have someone fix the whole street, do the whole street. I don't know why we're not doing it. They used to do it every so often. They used to pay the whole street. I don't know why they're not doing it now. Also, I'd like to know how many hours do you guys work a week? Or do you work, how long, how many days do you work? And when do you accept calls? I know I call all the time. I never can get no one's here.
That's true. That's true.
I don't keep regular office hours, but pretty much everybody has my cell phone and has no issues getting hold of me.
Well, I don't have your cell phone when I thought I was supposed to call the office when I had a problem, not your cell phone. I mean, I thought, don't you guys have phones in your office? Thank you.
Our voicemail is supposed to roll over to our email, so we should be getting email messages if something goes into our voicemail box.
Well, how many days do you guys work a week, or do you, how many hours? 2 days, 1 day? I know you can't work all the time, but all of you live out here, and I assume you're doing it because you live out here, and you want the community to survive.
Yes.
That's what I assume. So you would, go above.
Correct.
Nobody say anything? And when you hire your help, do you hire them outside? Most of the time you hire people. I know before Mr. Wood came, we had road people that came out and they did their job. Looked like all of a sudden they went away. I mean, we never had problem. I don't know the guy's name, but he's been gone for, I think, Craig. He was, if we had a problem, he would come. Now you have a problem, I got a big hole right in front of my house, just tear up the car. Grass gonna look like a forest almost. And you know what, I'm gonna try to take and do something about it. Because I don't think that I should be paying taxes for out here, and then what I'm getting on my street. I'm not getting any kind of service.
Neighbor, what street you live on?
Tucson. I remember you coming out one time and shoveling the snow. The snow was so bad and you didn't have enough help or something. I remember you coming out, help shoveling that snow.
Thank you.
You helped me too.
Huh? Yeah.
Shoveling the snow, you went out and helped me with it. That was nice of you.
So I want something done about that, or else I can see how if I had to do it myself, if I had to get a lawyer to see what can be done, and the trustees are supposed to be taking care of out here, I'm gonna see what can be done, and I'm gonna go to every door out here, and see if we can get somebody that know what to do out here.
Thank you, neighbor.
Next, C, please have your full name and address for the record before you get started, please.
This is Eric, you want me to say it?
Hmm?
Could you write it down or say it? Why don't you say Nancy Jones? Only thing I want to ask
Your
him,
address.
4843 Vanguard. That's in Dayton, Ohio.
Go ahead.
Only thing I want to know is why is it, and I know the answer is nobody's died yet. We got a bunch of kids out here starting to come out here. And if you drive through this township, every time you look, there's a car across the street. And the kids can't go up and down the sidewalk because somebody's parking their car across the apron. The correct word, apron. Come on, guys. And this has been an ongoing thing, ongoing. What's wrong with this one,
I'm just trying to figure out what jurisdiction, would that be a sheriff's jurisdiction, would it be a zoning jurisdiction, who's the, so a car's parked, and I see car parked on the sidewalk across, so they're in the driveway.
You look,
They're in
your
the driveway.
grandkids come over your house and you can't go down the street because I decided to park my car across it. So you have to go out in the street to go down the sidewalk on this tricycle.
Yeah,
And it's not nice.
yeah. I see what you're saying.
And the drug issues, we just let that go. And it's all through the township, it don't matter where you go. Yeah, everybody knows, it's just go through township. Yeah, they park the cars across the apron. And you know, little kid that, they tell us old folks to walk in the evening, and when we walk, we got to walk a little bit, then out in the street.
Yep. Oh, and you messed up.
What's that?
Watch your butt. Because if we're on our street, then they
No,
go down the street.
Thanks.
That's it. That's all. And good job so far.
We can,
We never got
verify the
answers.
sheriffs and see what Captain Flag can do with that. I mean, I know
They say they don't do traffic.
the drugs and cat and mouse thing.
Yeah, the house burned down, that takes care of it. But anyway, I heard they don't do traffic out here.
I don't think that's true, because we just got a report from Flag.
I'm sorry. Ma'am, I hate to put you on the spot. When's the last time you wrote a traffic ticket for parking out here?
For parking?
That's okay, that's good enough. That's good enough. That's good enough.
We have stickers that we adhere, we have to give them warning before we actually give them a ticket. We give them 48 hours to move their vehicle. We can't just go up and give them a ticket for it, we have to give them a warning.
So if they block the street, then what would you do?
We'll go up and tell them how to move it. We can't just,
Why is that?
we have to give them a warning. We have orange stickers, or green stickers we have to give them.
So if I park across the street and nobody can get through it, you have to give me a warning and I stay there for 48 hours.
No, we tell them to move it right there and then.
Okay. You know, I'm just old dumb country boy.
No, just-
I'm sure I'm not, I don't know.
If the vehicle is parked across the sidewalk and it's hampering your ability to walk down the street, call us, we'll come out and make contact with us.
Thank you.
Just call us.
Thank you.
The cars now, and this has come up in previous meetings, people have complained about cars like inoperable or expired tags.
Yes.
Usually expired tags is the first step, but because of the COVID protocols, in the license bureau being limited, there was a lot of latitude on expired tags, which hindered our ability to take action on.
I go along with that, but when I come home, I don't feel like parking my car on the street, I park my car across the sidewalk.
And just call us, that's it. Just call, if it's on a sidewalk, call us.
Okay.
We'll respond to that.
But if it's obviously inoperable, the case I called one in, there was a white Malibu, street that crosses Derby over to across Jonestown. There was a white Malibu, the whole nose was knocked off of it. It's sitting in the backyard now. But it was sitting on the street and I had that towed out or notify them to get.
Was it blocking anybody? Was it blocking any traffic or anything?
No, but it was inoperable and it wasn't bad.
Okay, but that doesn't bother me. I'm talking about the kids can't go down the street. Yeah, and then if a kid gets hit,
It wasn't bothering nobody.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, it's not bothering anybody.
When we just tell you, call and see, don't get them worried. Right,
They're busy.
everybody is, that's true.
Okay, thank you.
The dispatch still puts the call in for it, and we have to take the calls. Regardless of how busy we are, the call's still on the board, and we have to take
Yes,
the
ma'am,
call.
okay.
Okay, Linda Robin, please read your name and address and the record.
Linda Rowley, 246 South Diamond Mill. I just want a little bit of clarification. We've all been at this a really long time. And I just struggle to see my township getting better. And a couple of things that, couple of pet peeves I have that we can all do better. I know we can do better. But as a citizen, and I wrote this before the meeting, so as a citizen of this township, my tax dollars are paying your salaries. Yours, Mr. Mann,
All of them.
yours, all of them. And when I come to the meetings and I hear no report, does that mean you didn't do anything? You're still getting paid. I mean, I understand that's by state law, we have to pay you. But when I hear no report, I would like to hear, well, I drove down the road and I cleaned up this, I picked up a bottle, I mowed the cemetery, I did something to earn my money. And time after time after time, I hear no report, I have nothing today. Does that mean you didn't do anything to earn your money? I mean, you guys are elected, so that means you're supposed to work for the people. That's what elected means. You work for the people. Just a thought there. Another question I wanted to know, and he's gone, he doesn't normally stay for our meetings, but I would like to know how long the people on the committee, at least we figured out who they were from the last meeting. Last meeting, we didn't know who was on the committee. But how long has Matt Eagle and Chris Widener been on Jefferson Township Fire Department? I would like to know that.
No, I never heard of
That's
it.
what I said, why do people say around you?
And the last thing I would like to know is, I'm not sure